Mailbag time here on Falcons Today. Matthew Peterson answering questions from our live show on Thursday following not only the Matthew Judon trade, but the Justin Simmons signing as well. First question comes in from Sam, who asks, is it bad that I want to be greedy and bring in Stephon Gilmore too? When I first read this, my live reaction was just speechless. Like, wow. Could you imagine Gilmore, Terrell, Bates, Simmons? That is an actual Pro Bowl lineup. I don't think it's in the cards because of the money. Simmons signed for $8 million. I don't think Gilmore's going to go below $5 million. And the Falcons, after acquiring $6.5 million contract from Judon and dishing out $8 million to Simmons, I don't think they have enough left in the piggy bank to afford Stephon Gilmore. But also, I don't think it's so much about the money. I think they are much more content with what they have brewing between Hughes, Phillips, Hamilton, and King. Not only in terms of the battle for who's going to win that job, but also the depth they have at that spot. Hamilton and King kicked ass in that preseason game in Miami. Sure, playing against backups, but still, it was very encouraging to see. So I think Atlanta's a lot more content with their CB2 battle, but I would be lying if I said this wouldn't be awesome. Next one rolling in from DJD, Hype AF, let's go, top 10 NFL team. I'm going to put them at 11, and I don't have in my brain permanently walking around the top 10 teams in the league, but I actually, you know what? Screw it. They just got Justin Simmons. That's the 10th best team in the National Football League right there. Kirk Cousins, top 3 offensive line, Bijan, London, Pitts, Grady Jarrett, Onyemata, Matt Judon, 3 great linebackers in Ellis, Landman, Anderson, Terrell, Bates, Simmons. Give me top 10. AKA Zay, any possibility for a Hasson Reddick pickup? No. They picked their mate. It was Judon, 3rd-round draft pick. There is no more trade for Hasson Reddick. It was one or the other. If they trade for Hasson Reddick, I'm going to be absolutely floored and also incredibly excited all at once. So wouldn't bet on it by any means, but yeah, I would not say that Reddick is coming to Atlanta anymore. Next one coming in from Champagne Poppy. Top 10 offense and top 10 defense, potentially so. Top 10 offense is very much in play. Defense, I think with the Justin Simmons and Judon pickup, they're right in that like 12 to 16 range, right? They're top half. And they're not quite top 10. There are still some very good defenses, but they're definitely close to top 10. I mean, I think before they got Judon and Simmons, they were 24. Like, they probably jumped up half of the spots. They jumped up 10, 12 spots after adding these 2 guys. So, not quite there for the defense, but they're very, very close, and they can get there a few weeks into the season. Cam, you're on the show next. Best safety duo in the league? Without a doubt, Cam. Without a doubt. I mean, I'm just looking right now at the PFF ranks live on the show. Top safeties last year. And Pro Football Focus is just one way to evaluate players, not the only way. Like Antoine Winfield, he does not have some incredible running mate next to him. Bates, Javon Holland from the Dolphins, Xavier McKinney, Jabril Peppers, Kyle Hamilton. The Ravens have a good secondary, but no one is jumping out in terms of having 2 guys in the top like 20, 30 in safeties for the National Football League like Simmons and Bates. Justin Simmons and Jessie Bates combined have 28 takeaways over the last 2 years. Only 4 teams in the National Football League had more than 28 takeaways all of last year. And that's just 2 players in this Falcons defense. Yeah, 28 combined takeaways in the last 2 years. They are top 2. And it ain't close. Okay. Another question rolling in, I think. Okay. So, really quickly, I want to give some love to our friends over at Prize Picks. Let's do Prize Picks really quickly. Trust me. So, today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week. From lowering select player stats projections on Tuesdays to helping your lineup hit or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. So, a visual example of Prize Picks. I like the less on Patrick Mahomes' passing yards at 42.99 simply because of the injuries they have at wide receiver. I like the more for both Tyreek Hill and Saquon Barkley's yardage. And then with Garrett Wilson getting Aaron Rodgers back, how about the more on his receptions? So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy over at Prize Picks. All right, all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Also, I want to ask you guys this question. How would you rate the Falcons defense on a scale of 1 to 100? I'm going to give them an 89. I don't quite think they're at a 90, but man, when you add Simmons and Judon in 24 hours, it doesn't really matter what defense they're going to. That's going to knock them up a handful of spots. Then you factor in the existing pieces of A.J. Terrell and Jessie Bates, just in the secondary alone. 89 feels appropriate for Atlanta's defense now. Rashard Clark, next one up. Does that mean picking Michael Penix in the first round was a good idea? I don't think adding Simmons and Judon on one-year deals validates the future of the Atlanta Falcons with the Michael Penix pick at number 8. I don't think one-year contracts this year prove whether or not it was a good deal. I think the 8th overall pick was about, at least in my eyes, trying to maximize Kirk Cousins' 3 to 4 year window here, and 1-year rentals or 1-year signings from these guys shouldn't be the difference maker in evaluating the next 3 to 4 years for Kirk Cousins without having that 8th overall pick be someone who could play offense or defense, just any position but his. But we don't need to talk about that right now. Let's enjoy the nice additions the Falcons have made. Miles, we back, baby. What else do you think we need? I would say wide receiver. Jakeem Grant retired. He was placed on the reserve/retired list. So wide receiver was a need for them, a big enough need for them to go out and sign Jakeem Grant. And a week later, he retires after popping up with a hamstring injury in practice after 2 straight years of missing football due to injuries. So wide receiver is still a squeaky wheel on this team because after Drake London and Darnell Mooney, there's a big question mark. Ray McCloud, 750 career receiving yards. Is he really primed and ready to be a number 3 receiver on a pass-happy offense? I don't think so. I think they should go get another wide receiver. Carson, if King continues doing well, does he start week 1? I think it's Mike Hughes, I think it's Mike Hughes still. And the reason why is if they had doubts about Hughes, I think he would have played in the first preseason game. Like Arnold Ebiketie, for example. But he didn't. He was sat, and I think that's a reflection of where he stands within the coach's depth chart in terms of confidence for week 1. So I think it'll be Mike Hughes starting week 1 still. Xfinity, what do you think about trading Tyler Algier for a wide receiver? I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that Algier is going to have a huge role this year just based on what Atlanta's coaching staff brings from where they were last, LA and Minnesota with Kirk Cousins. You're going to be a pass-happy offense with a running back who was taken in the top 10 that's primed for a big year. I don't know if there's enough touches to go around to get Tyler Algier a good amount of work. But I don't think the Falcons are going to be in any rush to trade Algier away. He's a solid player, a very good backup in case something were to happen to Bijan. They do lose their 3rd and 5th round draft pick from a Judon trade and tampering allegations. So not the worst idea in the world to try and recoup some of those draft picks. But my guess is the Falcons, if they do trade Algier, it'll be out of patience and waiting for a team who lost their running back to call Atlanta and offer up an offer they can't refuse. LJ, what's going on, dude? What do you think our record would be with our new roster? My original record prediction was 10-6. 10-7, I'm sorry. I'm used to the old one, 10-7. But now I'm smelling 11 wins. It's the easiest schedule in the NFL, and the defense was the only big question mark you had remaining, and you went and added a guy who has 12-plus sacks in 2 out of his last 3 years and the NFL interceptions leader since 2016. yeah, something tells me 11 wins is all of a sudden very attainable. So get me 11-6. Cap a lot of bussin'. Will they offer a contract extension to Judon or Simmons? Simmons unlikely, just because of the position. Like, safety isn't one you're seeing a lot of money spent at, and they've already spent a lot on Jessie Bates, so I doubt they double dip long term there. Judon, I could see a mid-season extension happening. If he comes out, puts up 4 sacks in the first 5-6 weeks, and they feel like, hey, he still has plenty of gas left in the tank, let's try and get the last football out of him here in Atlanta, then sure, maybe Judon would be receptive to getting a deal done now instead of having to wait till the end of the year and testing out the free agent market, especially if he likes what they're, building there in Atlanta. KGN, what's our next move in the draft? We got a whole season to play first, dude. I would say pass rusher still. Like, Judon's on a 1-year contract. Braylon Trice will be coming off a torn ACL. I would say edge rusher still. KGN, I appreciate your question, though. Next one up. Now with the pickup of Justin Simmons and Judon, what's the biggest weakness on defense? Probably still has to be CB2, right? Like, that's the last question mark in terms of what you have in Mike Hughes. But I don't think he's going to be exposed a lot because of all the great surrounding talent. But I think if you could, have one more position added, like if I could pick one guy from any roster with no cost, I would probably add one more corner. Austin, appreciate your question. Last question rolling in. Kenneth Dodd, do you think we extend A.J. Terrell now, and when? A.J. Terrell, his entire Falcons career, has been an excellent man coverage corner. Raheem Morris is going to come in, and if he brings his Rams defense with him, it's a much more zone-heavy defense. So I don't think there's a lot of urgency for the Falcons to get a Terrell extension done until they see how he fits in this new Falcons defensive mold. If he comes out with a really strong start to the year, then I would not rule out a midseason extension. If he doesn't seem to be a great fit, then the Falcons are probably a little bit happy they didn't get an extension done before seeing how he fits in this new defense. So I would wait till a midseason extension if he has a good first half to the year. All right, that's going to do it for us on our mailbag today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Reminder to like the video if you haven't already. It does help support the channel. And if you're not subscribed, let's change that right now.